This is United Network News with Sunny Galt, Calen, Kimberly Gogan, and our field messengers from around the world. Here's today's real news. It's May 5th, 2025, and here are today's stories. Romania's port of Constanța is at the center of a massive corruption scandal. Politicians and officials accused of bribery and misuse of public funds. In the UK, affordable housing is being pushed to the limit as service charges soar. Are tenants paying more than their fair share? Central America faces mounting food and water insecurity. Millions in the dry corridor are feeling the pressure. A 50-year dream becomes reality in Tennessee with a dazzling geodesic dome, and young artists shine in Novi, Michigan. Finally, our online degree is actually saving you money. The numbers may surprise you.
Romania's port of Constanța, an important national asset, is at the center of a major corruption scandal. Politicians, businessmen, and officials are accused of bribery and misusing public funds. UNN Field Messenger Monica reports on the situation.
Hi, Field Messenger Monica reporting from Romania for United Network News. The port of Constanța, which covers an area of almost 40 square kilometers and is almost 30 kilometers long, is the largest port in the Black Sea basin and ranks fourth in Europe. Earlier this year, the National Anti-Corruption Directorate announced that 20 people had been arrested by prosecutors for crimes committed in the port of Constanța. The charges are bribery. Bribes amounting to more than €6 million were paid for winning tenders and preferential award of contracts, preferential lease or concession of land, employment of persons at key points in the port of Constanța, and many others. Among the detainees are directors of the port administration, the head of the Constanța municipal organization of a political party, a police officer of the Coast Guard, and several businessmen and representatives of commercial companies operating in the port of Constanța. The file of the National Anti-Corruption Directorate brings to light a very great vulnerability for national security, a systemic corruption deeply rooted in the mentality of its perpetrators, perpetuated over more than 2 decades. The chief prosecutor of the National Anti-Corruption Directorate stated that we are talking about a case that concerns a critical infrastructure of the Romanian state, the port of Constanța. In the file that they sent to the judges, the anti-corruption prosecutors make a harsh X-ray of the current reality in the port of Constanța. The port of Constanța, a strategic national asset, has become a playground for a bunch of gangsters. Politicians, businessmen and civil servants of the Romanian state have formed groups that have public money at their disposal. The port, which is experiencing record economic growth, also employs 10,000 locals, but the wealth is not visible in their neighborhoods. Without the investment and the contribution to regional prosperity that the people expect from the port, this locomotive that can even pull the whole county forward, but which is caught tightly and held back by the octopus of corruption, Constanța will remain a city without prospects and without development. Despite this bleak picture, Constanța has the potential to be reborn. This will require the will of its inhabitants to demand change, the genuine involvement of all, and long-term vision. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Service charges are turning into a hot topic these days, and not in a good way. Across the UK, housing associations are raising these fees, making affordable housing feel anything but affordable. Many are now questioning how these increases are calculated and if they're truly justified.
A service charge covers things like maintaining shared gardens, buildings insurance, caretakers, emergency systems, communal heating or hot water, and upkeep of shared spaces like hallways, lifts, or garbage chutes. It might be included in your rent or paid separately, but you'll only need to pay if your tenancy agreement mentions it. The agreement should explain what the charge covers, how it's calculated, and when it might increase. According to official data, there are around 4.1 million social or affordable homes in England, including shared ownership properties. Shared ownership provides an opportunity for buyers to purchase a share of a property, usually between 25 to 75%, and pay rent on the remaining share. Housing associations have built more than 100,000 of these in the past decade, offering a cheaper alternative to full ownership. However, many buyers still struggle with mortgage payments, rent, and service charges, which have risen by up to 400% in some areas. They have raised concerns about extra fees, with some claiming they're being charged for services that don't even exist.
This is Josie Dom's dream home in Colchester, complete with cat outside. She's a single mother and bought it, or part of it, through the government's shared ownership scheme last year. But as a part owner, she still pays service charges to the leaseholder for things like maintenance and repairs to communal services. She was unprepared for just how much, though.
It's a 138% increase, which is just madness.
The charges included some for non-existent services like CCTV and a communal boiler. Josie hasn't paid the bill and is now in arrears.
The idea of shared ownership is to help people like myself and others that wouldn't otherwise be able to afford their own home, and then suddenly, again, we can't afford it, which makes a mockery of being shared ownership, doesn't it, and having social housing.
The difficulty is that shared owners are still tenants, and across the country they face charges out of their control. That's an issue across the whole leasehold system, but it can put more financial strain on shared owners who own less than other buyers. We've spoken to dozens of people in the same situation. They saw shared ownership as an opportunity, but then those service charges increased, other charges increased massively, and that opportunity becomes a trap.
When housing associations can't balance their budgets, the costs often fall on residents and the community, but people are hitting their limit. Many can't handle constant increases, yet the hikes continue every year. MPs are now calling for an investigation, while frustrated residents are taking legal action to fight back and reclaim unfair costs. The Social Housing Action Campaign Group, or SHAC, is calling for a cap on these charges, urging housing associations to improve conditions for shared ownership homeowners. Campaigners are also pressuring the government to strengthen tenant rights and increase transparency around service charges. Meanwhile, housing associations claim they don't profit from these fees, pointing to costs set by external managing agents.
Matthew Pennycook MP, Labour's housing spokesperson, has confirmed there'll be no cap on service charges under a future Labour government. That's the statement. No cap, no protection, another promise abandoned. And if you're a leaseholder or shared owner already struggling with spiralling charges, what does that leave you with? You could go to tribunal. But who really has the time, money or stomach to take on a multi-million-pound housing provider? Right now, there's no oversight, no independent regulator checking whether these charges are fair. It's a system that rewards exploitation and punishes the people just trying to live in their homes. Shared ownership was sold as a step up, but for many, it's become a financial trap.
SHAC is calling for service charge disputes to be handled by court services, not landlords. They're also raising concerns about government plans to let social landlords hike rents by inflation plus 1% annually for the next decade. Uncapped and poorly regulated service charges added to rents are causing huge financial strain on tenants. Research shows 70% of service charge disputes last year led to fees being reduced or scrapped. SHAC also wants stricter laws, a regulator to oversee charges, and penalties for unfair practices by landlords, councils, and housing associations.
Charges usually increase in April, often tied to inflation or rising costs like energy. If you're unhappy with an increase, consider teaming up with other residents to complain as a group, which can put more pressure on your landlord. You can also contact the Housing Ombudsman about calculation errors or poor communication, or reach out to your local counselor or MP for support. Central America is grappling with serious challenges when it comes to food and water security, and it's hitting vulnerable communities the hardest. From shifting weather patterns to water shortages and unequal access to resources, these issues are especially severe in the region's dry corridor. Stretching across multiple countries, this area is home to millions who rely on agriculture to survive. But the growing strain on resources is making daily life increasingly tough.
The Central American Dry Corridor is a 1,600-kilometer stretch that covers 35% of Central America, including parts of Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. Home to more than 10 million people, this region faces constant water shortages, which have huge ripple effects on agriculture, livestock, and daily life. About 73% of the rural population lives in poverty, and 7.1 million people struggle with severe food insecurity, according to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization. Droughts often overwhelm existing infrastructure, making it even harder for people to access basic services or maintain their livelihoods. Small and medium-scale farmers are hit the hardest, especially those growing staples like corn, beans, and rice, which dominate about half the region's farmland. Family farming accounts for about 79% of agriculture in Central America, with many families relying on their crops to survive. In Guatemala, droughts affect 70% of the land and more than half of the poorest communities, leading to high child malnutrition rates, according to Guatemala's Food and Nutritional Security Secretary.
Mi nombre es Honoria Gómez Gómez, tengo 44 años. Yo vivo en Aldea Chocal, Malacatancito. Vivo con mi esposo y mis hijos, por todos son 9. Nuestra comida es los frijolitos, el arroz, los huevitos. Eso va más principal, el maíz. Porque si no hay maíz, ¿qué va a ser nosotros no tenemos agua. Ya en el pozo ya agua ya no da. Antes había, antes que aguajal. Yo siempre voy a traer agua al río con mis nenes para mi siembra, para mis flores, para mis pollitos, para mis... Allá tengo sembrada verdura. Cuesta cuando está seco. Ya no mucho llueve. Antes llovía más. Pero, ay Dios, un día sí no tenía ni una tinaja de agua para mi cocina. Ya este año sí traté de sembrar porque siempre ya no va uno al mercado. Bueno, yo ya voy acá mes y 8 días porque pasaje muy caro. Ya solo en pasaje se va el poquito que le dan a uno, entonces mejor por ahí vamos o buscamos dónde está más barato. No sé cómo va a ser más adelante.
To address these issues, organizations like the Central American Integration System and the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations are supporting projects to restore watersheds and biodiversity. For example, in El Salvador, the Reclima project focuses on restoring upland ecosystems, protecting water sources, and training farmers in sustainable agriculture. Techniques like agroforestry and traditional farming practices play a key role in these efforts. The Alegria municipality on the slopes of the Tecapa volcano, coffee is grown under the native trees that help trap rainfall and filter it into the soil. Farmers on lower slopes are planting fruit trees, mulching, and contouring fields to improve nutrients and prevent erosion. They're also making organic fertilizer from crop waste to keep soil moist during dry spells and reduce reliance on chemical fertilizers. These simple practices are helping the land stay productive, even in dry conditions.
When we get to the rainy season here, we get 2,000 millimeters per year, but it goes running down the hills to the ocean in a second. It's because we have not done forest in the upper hills. People are not seeing this connection between upper hills and lower lands.
Estamos en una era en que nosotros mismos hemos desequilibrado la ecología. Pero también estamos haciendo muchas labores agronómicas para contrarrestar esos problemas. Estamos capacitando a nuestros agricultores venir a hacer siembras de árboles forestales que vengan a ayudarnos un poco más a ser resilientes en contra del cambio climático. El árbol es vida.
By enriching agricultural areas with fruit and forest trees, soil is restored and once again retains water. Instead of creating floods, water from heavy rainfall is now stored in the upper hills. Now the growing trees bring shade and biodiversity is revived.
Y eso da de tomar agua prácticamente a la población baja.
Another major effort is the Tri-National Border Municipal Association of the Lempo River, which unites 25 border municipalities across Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. Local governments lead these efforts with support from professionals and international funding. The association focuses heavily on managing the Lempo River, a vital resource for energy, agriculture, and drinking water in the region. To combat pollution and overuse, they've implemented rainwater harvesting projects, helping farming communities reuse water for agriculture, an especially critical need in the dry corridor. Funding comes from municipal fees, international aid, and services provided to local governments.
These collaborative efforts are a step toward helping farmers and communities overcome the challenges posed by shifting environmental conditions. The case of the dry corridor is just one example of the importance of environmental conservation.
Hi everyone, this is Leanne.
And I'm Jerry.
Coming to you from Tamworth, New South Wales.
Hi there, this is Rick from Arizona.
My name is Uchechukwu Ogbenegba from Igbo tribe, Nigeria.
Hi, this is Scott from Utah.
I'm Annette from Agassiz, British Columbia.
Hi, I'm Marcus Surzet from Manipur State, India.
Real people reporting real stories from all around the world. That's what United Network News is all about.
Can you clap?
We had a huge flood, which some call the flood of the century.
No fake news here. Our field messengers share personal experiences of what's really happening in their community.
We got some nice fish out here.
At UNN, you are the news.
My family and I had a very good time.
Take the next step. Become a UNN field messenger and share the real news with the world.
In the Northwest Province of South Africa, I am United Network News.
I am United Network News.
I am United Network News.
I am United Network News, and if it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me. If it is going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to us. Field Messages, United Network News. See you next time.
Step into a world of possibilities with New Earth, a groundbreaking series that shines light on holistic ways to live, work, and thrive. Join us weekly to discover new innovative ideas and explore the world around us as we, together, create our future, our New Earth.
The farm community in Tennessee celebrated the opening of Holyoke Rising, a stained-glass geodesic dome created after 50 years of work. UNN Field Messenger Kathleen interviews the artist about this incredible structure.
Hello, I am Kathleen, Field Messenger for United Network News, reporting to you from the farm community in Summertown, Tennessee. I'm very pleased and so excited to be sharing this experience with you, as it is awe-inspiring to see what can result from an artist's vision, her lifetime effort, and the great pure effort of family and a crew to make it all happen. It's late March 2025, and we are at the grand opening day called Holyoke Rising. This day is a culmination of over 50 years of effort by the artist to finally have her stained glass creation in a permanent home. Calen, the artist, architect, and builder, tells a bit of her vision and intention.
Okay, I built this dome from 1967 to 1974, and it had a long life story, but it was built here to start with, and then it came down. And today, it's the first time that it's ever been put up as a building with a protective cover around it and a beautiful stairway. And it's finally complete. So that's what we're celebrating today.
Thank you so very much, Calen, for creating this East Beauty. Coming from California to do this with us. You just...
No. I live in Florida. I'm retired. Yeah.
Okay.
And I just completed a movie. I work in video now. That's what my dreams come true, because I think colored light, for instance, comes into your cells. The colored light heals your body, even not just your mind.
Keep going in there and have a new experience. Every day it's going to be a different cloud or a different bird or something. So it'll never be over for you. And that was one of the things that I loved about having a building rather than, some drawing in some museum or something. So I felt so happy to be able to do this dream thing, and everything seemed to open up for me. And I think it will for you too. I mean, you might look around and wonder what this is all about, but it'll come to have meanings for you.
She gifted it to the farm community and guided its reconstruction. Marilyn Harris supported and orchestrated this final installation. I hope that you've enjoyed seeing the celebration and maybe even felt uplifted by the story and the joy and gratitude of the artist and friends. Thank you for watching. This is Kathleen, signing off.
At a Western High School's art show in Novi, Michigan, students are showing off their creative talents. UNN Field Messenger Kim gives us a look at their amazing work.
Hi, I'm Kim Thomas with United Network News as a Field Messenger, and I'm here at Western High School in Novi, Michigan, and at the art show. So I just want to show you guys, I dressed up because my granddaughter's in the art show. So she said, Granny, I want you to dress up, and I'm dressed up a little artsy today. Look at this. This is new. These are high heel shoes. Okay, this is what I can do with my old shoes.
My name is Lori Watson. I'm one of the art teachers here at Walled Lake Western High School in Walled Lake, Michigan. And we are here celebrating the work of our senior students and our underclassmen who are showing their work that they created throughout the whole school year. And we have students that take advanced visual arts, that take animation, ceramics, cytography, computer graphics, drawing and painting, metal and jewelry, and so we get to showcase the best work of the students from the entire year here. And a lot of our students will consider going on to attending a College of Art and Design, and hopefully through the work that they're producing here, they can create a portfolio of artwork that could get them admitted to a College of Art and earn some scholarship money.
When online degrees first hit the scene, many people assumed they'd be the cheaper, more flexible alternative to traditional college. No dorms, no meal plans, no campus maintenance. Surely that means big savings, right? Well, not always. In fact, some online degree programs are just as expensive or even more than their in-person counterparts. And if you're scratching your head wondering how that adds up, you're not alone. Turns out a whopping 83% of online college programs cost just as much or even more than their in-person counterparts. That's according to an annual survey of online learning leaders based in the U.S. So why are online programs so pricey? A lot of the cost comes from things students don't see, like the tech infrastructure needed to run everything smoothly, including learning platforms, cybersecurity, and support services. Creating high-quality online courses isn't cheap either. Schools often hire entire teams to make classes engaging and keep them updated. Then there's the value of the school's name. Well-known universities know their brand carries weight, and they charge accordingly. Add in the cost of global marketing to attract students and the fact that faculty still need to be paid the same as if they were teaching in person, and it's easy to see how the price tag starts to climb. That study also discovered about a quarter of universities and colleges also tack on an additional distance learning fee, which seems questionable. So when you add it all up, online degrees cost a lot more than you might think.
Let's break down the average cost of an online undergraduate degree. On average, the cost of an online undergraduate degree ranges from $38,000 to $60,000. This varies based on the institution, program, and residency status. Tuition typically costs between $300 to $600 per credit hour. Don't forget additional expenses like textbooks, tech fees, and supplies.
With the cost of college, online or in person, being so high, it really makes you stop and think, what's the actual trade-off between the two? Online degrees definitely win when it comes to flexibility. They're a great fit for people trying to balance work, family, or just a busy life in general. You can learn from pretty much anywhere, and some programs even let you go at your own pace, which is great if you're self-motivated. But let's be honest, online learning isn't always easy. Without the structure of a physical classroom, it can be hard to stay focused, and you miss out on those casual, in-the-hallway conversations, campus events, and face-to-face networking that come with traditional college experiences. There are definitely pros and cons to both online and in-person degrees, and it really depends on what you're looking for. But who says you have to pick just one? More and more schools are offering hybrid options where you can mix online and in-person classes to get the both of best worlds.
One of the best things I did at community college was take a bunch of online classes. I was at community college for 1 year, and during my first semester, I took one online class. During my second, I took 3. The best thing about these online classes is that I saved so much time not having to commute to campus and sit in a classroom, so I was able to do so many other things in my life that I really wanted to do. I was going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. I was going rock climbing about 3 times a week, and I was working 20 hours at a job. I also started my own online business, held leadership positions in multiple clubs and student organizations on my community college campus, and still found time to hang out with friends and have a social life. On top of all that, the online classes were definitely way easier than the in-person classes at community college, at least in my experience, and they looked exactly the same on my transcript.
The way employers view online degrees has really shifted over the past few years, especially since the pandemic made online learning way more common and necessary. These days, most employers are a lot more open to online degrees, especially if the program comes from a well-known accredited school. In many cases, they're more interested in what you studied and how you can apply it, rather than whether you sat in a classroom or learned from your laptop. UNN is changing the face of news. Join us for our weekly Field Messenger meetings and learn how you can make a difference. Visit unitednetwork.earth for more information. Thanks for watching.